What's up guys, it's Cody. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a huge believer in house hacking. What is house hacking? Well, it's the process of basically getting roommates, right? Nothing new, nothing that we've never seen before. People have been doing this for thousands of years, even back when you had, cavemen living in caves, right? They had roommates. They said, hey, let's occupy the space together and let's protect each other. At that time it was probably, hey, let's protect each other from the bears, rather than now, hey, let's make a little extra money, right? But basically nothing new. House hacking can be taken a little bit further though, and you can go into the process of having a separate unit in your house that you can actually rent out. This could be a basement apartment, it could be a guest house, it could be a garage. There's a lot of different options and you can get really creative with house hacking. You can even rent out spare space in your house or on your property for people to store stuff using an app called Neighbor. I've also made a video about that. So you can get super creative with house hacking, and it's a great way to really reduce your monthly living expenses so that you can live for a lot cheaper. Living expenses for a lot of us are the most expensive thing that we're going to have every single month. Unless you're spending thousands of dollars on drinks and food every single month, or you've got a supercar, you're probably going to be paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, maybe even up to $5,000 a month for your living expenses. So if you're able to reduce that fee each and every month, you're going to be able to get way ahead. I have personally house hacked 4 times now, and I'm actually currently still doing it. I got started house hacking when I bought my very first place about 6 years ago. I bought a townhome, and within the first month of making that payment, I realized, man, making this entire mortgage payment really sucks. For that particular home, my payment is about $1,000 a month. This includes the mortgage, this includes utilities, and this includes the HOA payment. So I was making $1,000 a month for that payment. And at the time I was probably only making about $2,500 per month. So paying that all on my own really sucked. After that first month, I got 2 roommates and realized, look, these guys are paying a large portion of my mortgage. They're paying $800 a month. My total expenses are only $1,000. I'm only out of pocket $200 and I'm living in my own place that I just bought. So that kind of started the gears rolling for me. And after that, I bought another home where I moved into it, rented out the basement for $1,000 a month. I moved on from that home and bought another one, which is more of a triplex setup, but it was actually technically a single family home that had 2 apartments in it. I rented out both of those apartments and again, cut my own expenses for living in that home to under $600 a month. Well, time progressed. I got a family now. I've got a wife, I've got a kid, and I needed a little bit bigger house and wanted to move into a little bit nicer of a neighborhood. So we finally, after a little while, made that jump back into a home that had another single basement apartment. And this is the story that I want to describe to you guys here for what is in the title of how I live in a $500,000 home for roughly $1,000 a month. And I'm sharing this story because I hope that it inspires you to look at things a little bit differently and hopefully make a decision like this for yourself. The story of how I live in this $500,000 home starts like this. I actually paid about $525,000 for the home. I put 5% down, which came out to just over $26,000, and I had some closing costs associated with that as well. I did get the seller to pay for some of those, and I did negotiate some of my real estate commission to help cover those fees as well. So let's say my total out of pocket is about $30,000. Still a very good chunk of change, but actually not too bad to be able to get into such a nice home in a great area. Our initial payment upon moving in was just under $2,700 for this home. And then of course we had utilities on top of that: electric, gas, water, sewer, garbage, internet. I mean, basically everything you have to pay for when you're living in a house, right? So all in, we're probably at about $3,000 a month, probably about $2,900 for everything, including the utilities. We started with the house by actually renting out the basement apartment, which is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath unit with its own laundry and parking. We started renting it out on Airbnb as a short-term rental. We did this for a couple months and actually had some great success with it. Considering we were just starting out, we had some bookings, we were making pretty good money. I think at the very top, our best month was about $1,700, $1,800, and it would have kept going up from there had COVID not hit, right? After a couple months, COVID hit and all of our bookings canceled within just a single week. Airbnb basically went back to everybody, said, hey, if you want to cancel, now's the time to do it. So unfortunately, we lost all those bookings and we had to make a pivot extremely quickly. We ended up listing the home as a long-term rental for about $1,500 a month, and actually had it rented in about 2 days of having it listed. It really helps having a nice place that looks desirable and it shows well in being able to get your place rented out. So $1,500 for getting this place rented in just a couple of days is actually not that bad. We actually scored an awesome tenant, and it's worked out great over the past 6 or 7 months or so. So we've got our total payment of about $2,900. We are covering the utilities for the whole house. We're not charging any of that back to the tenant. We're just renting out the basement for that $1,500. So this brings us to about $1,400 a month for what my wife and I have to pay out of pocket each and every month. But it gets even better, right? We got this down to $1,000 a month. Just recently, I went through the process of refinancing the home and was able to drop the payment over $400. And this is because 1, interest rates dropped, 2, the value of the home went up, and 3, we were able to clear out a large portion of the PMI that we were paying on that loan. Now our loan balance was lower and the value of our home was higher. So the bank said, hey, you've got a wider margin there. We're actually going to reduce what you're paying for the PMI each month. So we dropped our payment over $400 per month, bringing that down to about $2,300, and then add in our utilities, which are a couple $100 a month, let's say $2,500 total. It does vary from month to month, but that's what gives us the ability to live in this home for right around $1,000 a month. I'm actually paying less than what my tenant's paying to live in the same house. And we get the upstairs unit with all of the windows, we get the garage, we get the backyard, we get everything that this home has to offer, and we're paying right around $1,000. You know, honestly, in my area, to rent a 2-bedroom apartment, you're probably looking at paying about $1,200, $1,300, maybe even $1,400 a month in rent for an apartment. So guys, I share this story with you because I hope this gives you a way to look at things a little bit differently. If you're willing to make a little bit of a sacrifice and live next to somebody, which you very well likely already are, you know, if you're living in an apartment or a townhome, or you're in a multi-unit already, like a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, whatever, you're already living next to somebody. This is exactly the same situation. I just bought a house and now I'm still living next to somebody. I'm willing to make that sacrifice because I bring in over $18,000 per year for making that sacrifice. So if you're willing to do the same, you can get into your own $500,000 house and hopefully only have to pay about $1,000 a month as well. This is by far the best way to start building wealth, and it's a great start to your investment portfolio. It really opens up a lot of creative ideas because when you own real estate, you open up a lot of other opportunities by being able to use that property as leverage to go and purchase more. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it with a friend who might also be interested in something like this. Share it with your wife, share it with your husband, share it with somebody who wants to know what house hacking is and who wants to start building a real estate portfolio for themselves. Guys, with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.